wedding days are a team effort. Like, I truly believe that. And our job as a team is to support each other so that everyone can get their job done so that the couple can have the best wedding day possible. The experience is more important. Like, your images still have to be incredible. Now we have a photo of the couple, we have their wedding date, as well as a link to their blog post, which shares a little bit about their day. So if you want to write a more personal post, like, you know, maybe you weren't there, well, we were, and here's a little bit about their day if you want to like share about it.
Welcome back to the Almost Creative Podcast. Today we are joined by a rock star of a photographer, Rachael Watson, the owner of Rachael Watson Photography. She's been doing this for over 10 years and is super well known in the Chicagoland area, at least really well known to us. But Rachael, thanks for joining me.
Oh my gosh, thanks for having me. I love when we get to tag team it and talk shop, and so this is fun. I'm excited.
Yeah, awesome. I want to back up we won't go back to your beginning yet, but we'll back up to where we started. Do you remember when we first met?
I feel like, I guess I don't know for sure if this was our first wedding, but yeah. I feel like our first wedding was Brittany and Joe at Cantini, and I remember Chris, who I think is here. Can I look at him? Can I do that?
He doesn't like being acknowledged, okay. But you can do it.
Okay.
I don't have a microphone.
Yeah.
Okay. I won't acknowledge him. I didn't know the rules for this. Was that our first wedding?
I think that was the first where we started having a streak together. So I did a little bit of research. So I didn't just know this off the top of my head.
Okay.
So funny enough, I think you started referring us, but you weren't even referring me. I think you were referring David.
Yes, that was Stephanie and Michael's wedding, also at Cantini in like 2016.
Yeah, because I think I had booked that wedding, but I wasn't available. So David ended up shooting it. Yeah. And then I think you were referring us based off of David. So hopefully I said a good I said a good tone too. Yeah. But then he wanted to step back from video and he started doing photography. So I kind of took over a lot of the video stuff, and then he had just kind of stepped back altogether. But we did Matt and Sarah. Do you remember that one?
No way.
2017.
I totally remember that. They have like babies now.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. I just saw them last year for
that's like almost 10 years ago, which is even crazy.
Wow. Okay, after that, what was it?
It probably was Brittany and Joe. And then I feel like from there was a rhythm. Yeah. But it was funny because I think you had started referring us pretty early on to that. So like we would get these leads and it's like from Rachael Watson. I'm like, who is this? Like, did I work with her? I don't remember. And then I asked David about it and I kind of put two and two together. But yeah, it's funny. But yeah, since then though, I feel like we usually do like 2 or 3 a year together.
Yeah.
So.
And I love it. Those are always my favorite weddings when I'm like, okay, Travis is going to be there. It's just going to be a fun day. And that's like part of the fun thing I feel like about weddings is you have like all these different people you're friends with, and you're like, okay, who are we hanging out with this weekend? Like, who do we get to see and catch up with? So I love it when we get to hang out together.
Yeah, and I was thinking the same thing. It's always exciting when we see you're on the wedding or like a couple came from you or something like that, because we know what to expect. I think there's also that kind of level of almost like comfort of like, oh, it's this DJ, it's this venue, it's this photographer. And so you feel comfortable. It's not like, oh, you're just going into this experience and you have no idea what the other person's going to be like. So
it's you're like, oh, this is going to be good. We've done this before. I don't have to worry about anything. Like, I know Travis has got my back. And that's like what's so cool. Like when you do see like those different team members from, different areas that you've worked with before, you're like, oh yeah, we got a good team this weekend. And that's really fun.
Yeah. Awesome. So I want to rewind time. So how did this all start for you? Was it just like you were born, you picked up a camera and you started taking photos? Like how did it all begin?
No. So Blake and I got married. I was pretty young. I was 6 months out of college. We got married and we were looking for a wedding photographer. So we ended up going with a company, and it was an all right experience. The photographer was nice. But the business side of it was just lacking. Yeah. There were a lot of things that didn't go well. We didn't end up getting our wedding photos for over a year. And it was a really frustrating experience. And I just thought to myself, there's got to be a better way of doing this. And I think it was through that frustration that I said, you know what? Why not me? And so really, I can remember sitting in the PJ's camera store parking lot. I'd already gone in. I'd talked to this sweet woman, Margaret, who really helped kind of guide me, like, well, if you're thinking about photography, you know, like maybe this camera and, you know, okay, like, let me know. And so I went out to the car, I called my husband and I said, by the way, this is like 4 weeks into marriage. I was supposed to be looking for a real job with my college degree. And I was just like, no, I don't really want to. I mean, I was still working. I had like 3 or 4 different jobs.
Yeah. What did you go to college for?
Youth ministry, actually. Okay. So I tell people, and so I majored in youth ministry, I minored in psychology, so I tell people I majored in people.
Hey, if you can wrangle up a bunch of kids at a church, you could wrangle up anyone. So.
Yeah, see, there you go, especially groomsmen. So I called my husband and I said, I think I want to start a photography business. Is that okay with you? I already checked my bank account. I have just enough money in the bank to buy this camera. And I will never forget this, and I'm so grateful for it because it changed the trajectory of everything. He said, you know what? You've got to do what brings you joy. And if this is what that is, like, do it. I fully support you, and we'll figure it out. Yeah. And I'm so grateful to Blake for that because it really gave me permission to explore this and see what it could be. And so bought the camera in November, officially incorporated in February, shot my first wedding the day after incorporating, actually on Valentine's Day, which was kind of fun. And after that first wedding, I just knew, like, everything inside of me, I was like, Lord, like, this is what I was created to do. Send me more, like, show me how to do this. And it was an incredible experience. And I haven't looked back since.
That's awesome. And it's probably really cool thinking back on that because, you know, and it's also really encouraging that Blake was so encouraging about it because he could have easily been like, we just got married. Like, what are you doing? You know, like, it's like, no, go find a 9 to 5. Yeah. And he didn't. And now, like, look at where you are now. You know, you have this awesome business that you've developed. You've probably taken care of like hundreds and hundreds of couples at this point. So
over 330 with Cassie's. I counted recently just for fun because I'm a total nerd. I think we're up to like 370-ish.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really fun. I feel incredibly blessed. Like I get to do something that I love, and we get to serve couples on one of the most special days of their lives. So I think that's pretty cool.
So we're going to test you. We're going to see if you can name all 370 of these couples. Starting with the first one.
Well, that
one's probably actually easier. Probably gets a little more gray in the middle. Yeah. So you went to college, but for a totally different thing than photography. So when this started kind of coming together, did it go through your mind of, hey, maybe I should go back to college? Or were you pretty set on, hey, I'm going to self-teach myself this?
Yeah. Well, I actually come from a family of entrepreneurs. So my parents are entrepreneurs. They have multiple businesses. My husband is. His parents are. My grandparents were. I can remember like growing up with my parents and like going to the warehouse. My first job was like at the warehouse with mom and dad. And so for me, the business side never really freaked me out. I mean, there were a lot of things that I didn't know. There were a lot of things I had to learn. There were a lot of things I did wrong. There's a lot of things I had to figure out. But I think for me, I never felt like I needed to go to school for business, but I did feel like, you know, maybe I should go to school for photography because that I was learning on my own. I was trying a lot of things, but was there a way to kind of jumpstart the learning? And fortunately, I found some incredible educators right off the bat. I think back to Melissa Jill. She taught me a ton about off-camera flash, and it was just an e-course. It's not, you know, I don't personally know her. But oh my gosh, like my very first wedding, I was using off-camera flash and I didn't even know what that was. But that's because I found Melissa Jill and I was able to follow some of her education and I was able to learn from that. And then I found Caitlin James, who is an incredible educator. And everything from like posing to editing and like understanding light. Yeah. Those things were absolutely like transformational. And I'm so grateful I found them so early because I was able to learn really quickly. So I knew I needed education. I wanted it, especially in that. And I felt like the best way to do that would be to just to like see who's out there already doing this and what can I learn from them.
Yeah, that's great. And I think back to, so like I went to school roughly for this. I went more for motion graphics. I thought I would do more like animation stuff, and then it just progressed into what it is now. But I remember spending like 3 to 4 years of my life in college. And then I went to WPPI once, and that's like 2 days. And I felt like I had taken in so much more than I did in school. Not that like school is bad. I think there's a use for it, especially if you're not like you can't really self-teach yourself. You kind of need that accountability. I think school could be that. But there's also just so many resources out there nowadays that like, hey, just go to like every conference that's happening that year and you probably would absorb more than you could like at school.
And it costs you half as much.
I'm sure it will, yeah. And you'll get to travel some cool places like Vegas and Florida and wherever else they're happening. So, so what year was it that you started then?
Yeah. So Blake and I got married in 2013. So 2014 is when we officially incorporated.
Okay. And how many weddings did you do your first year?
I want to say about 30.
Yeah.
I really hit the ground running.
Yeah.
And again, I just, when I look back, I can just so clearly see how the Lord had his hand in it, because there were so many things that happened that like shouldn't have happened. You know, my mom took me to like this little class from Nikon. I don't even shoot Nikon. I shoot Canon. And I like won a camera bag. Like there were like, how did that? I never win anything. And I like won this camera bag. And I found, I don't even know how I ended up on like a text. I kept getting text messages from Thumbtack. I was like, I don't know what this is. I don't remember running into it.
Yeah.
But it was really through Thumbtack that I booked those first 30 weddings. I had that one wedding from a friend that I was able to, or of a friend I was able to shoot, and I used that to book the next 5. And they were all leads from that website. And so it was pretty cool just to see how it all kind of just started flowing and coming together. And all of a sudden I was like, I didn't even have my own wedding photos back yet. and I was like shooting weddings and like learning so much about the process. So, it was a really cool, it was a good year, and it just kept growing from there.
So what do you think caused that essentially snowball effect? Because you said you did about 30 weddings the first year, and then it sounds like the next year, I don't know if you're still using Thumbtack at that point, but it sounds like a lot of those were maybe coming from those weddings that you did the first year. So what do you feel like kind of caused that to happen, where essentially the referrals started coming in?
Yeah, I think it took a little bit longer for referrals to start coming in, because honestly, like, I was learning a lot those first couple of years. And I'm so grateful for all the couples that entrusted me to like capture their wedding day. And I absolutely gave them 110%. And I think they love their photos, but I've also grown a lot since then. And so I think referrals really started coming in after I taken this course from KJ, Caitlin James, which I mentioned earlier, that just really talked about the client experience and like, how do you create an experience for couples that is the absolute best, that's memorable, and is really going to honor them and the investment that they've made in you. And so I think when I started implementing those things, we started to see a lot more referrals, and that was a game changer, honestly. Yeah.
What are some of those things that you started implementing?
So kind of to go a little bit backwards, what we do is we spend 2 to 3% of whatever a couple invests in us back on them. And the reason for that is kind of essentially our marketing budget. So instead of paying for traditional marketing, which I have done, I've experimented with that. What we said is, or what KJ teaches is, spend that on your couples and use that to create a good experience. And so we do a lot of little things, whether it's like a same-day sneak peek. We've been doing that for years. We surprise our couples with a canvas. Like after their final gallery is delivered, we mail them a canvas, and now that is something that they have hopefully hanging in their living room. And so anytime friends or family come over, they go, "Oh my gosh, like this canvas is beautiful." Like, yeah, our photographer gave it to us. And so the hope is to stay top of mind, to create a great experience for our couples so they remember and they refer us, but also to like stay top of mind. And so what are little things we can do that will just keep us on their mind as their friends get engaged, so they remember to send our name their way.
You bring up a good point too. What I would describe those couples that are coming from their friends or family, they're more like warm leads. Whereas like when you're running ads, you're dealing with cold leads. Like these people have no connection to you. There's no one really being your cheerleader essentially. Whereas like and I'm kind of the same way. And I think over the years I've becoming more and more like this, where I would rather invest more into people who bring us weddings than just like going out into the open world and hoping for the best. Not that like, ads and stuff can work, but it's just going to be a lot harder than, hey, let me touch base with, this person, that person. It's kind of scary, but also cool. Like we're hitting the point now where we're getting 10-year anniversaries of couples that we've shot. So what I did last year is all of our 2015 couples, I just reached out. I was like, hey, how's it going? Can you give me your shipping address? I didn't really like specify why. So like none of them really inquired. They're like, okay, here you go. Like they didn't really think much of it. And I sent them all like an anniversary gift, like a 10-year anniversary gift. And it was a little expensive to do, like, because we went pretty nice on each thing that we sent. It was a little expensive, but think how far that will go, because they might have forgot about me for all I know, like, because that was 10 years ago. Like I'm probably not at top of mind anymore. They've moved on. They've had kids. They've bought houses, whatever it is. So they might go back to their wedding video, but it's probably not as top of mind like as that first year, that they got it. So to just kind of get back on top of mind, because you never know who they know that might be getting married. And if you really liked working with them, chances are who they're going to refer you to, you're also going to like working with them too. So
yes, that's so true. And I love that idea. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
You can steal it if you like.
Thank you. I don't know. I might have to. That's so crazy. Wow, you have their contact information though. That's like, I think
that was a little bit. Well, that was a little bit harder. That was also like, I think at that year or the year after, we started switching from like a Gmail to like an actual official email, and I don't even think I had a CRM yet or anything. Yeah. So it was a little hard, but now it's getting easier because now I'm future thinking that. So when we have to go back to 2025 couples, I already have all their information in one place, thankfully. So but still have to confirm their address because you never know where anyone will end up. But but no, like I think it goes a long ways, and people appreciate that. Even like the start of the year, all those weddings we have that year, we just send them like a quick little gift, like, and usually it's like something branded too. So it might be like a little tumbler or whatever's kind of in trend at that time. We'll just send it and it has our logo. And, it's surprising how much people appreciate that. And then you never know when that might spark a conversation. They're using your silverware or dishware or whatever you give to them. And then someone comes over and they're like, oh, this is our videographer gave us this or whatever, you never know that will go. So,
yeah. And it's kind of fun. You never know what's going to bring that next referral. Yeah. So it's kind of fun just to put all these different things out there and see what sticks. Yeah.
So you don't have to go through every single step because I'm sure there's a lot of steps, but if you had to kind of quickly break down like what is a Rachael Watson photography experience for a couple, I would even say starting from like, so like let's say I'm a couple, I just inquired and I just sent you an email. Like where does the experience start? What does it look like for them if they book? I would love to just kind of hear like what your process is.
Yeah, that's a big question.
Yeah, this might take a little while. You can skip some stuff. You don't have to answer everything.
Yeah. Well, I think the most important thing is as soon as they inquire, they get an email back saying like, hey, I got your inquiry, and it sets the expectations of, hey, you can expect an answer within 24 hours unless it's the weekend. Then I'll get back to you Monday.
So you don't wait like 2 weeks to reply?
No. So again, just kind of setting that expectation right off the bat. We want to be really responsive. I think that's feedback that I hear a lot is like, oh my gosh, like you're so responsive, which to me is just normal because of like 24 hours, that's kind of thing, unless it's the weekend. But the fact that I hear that feedback so often, I'm like, is that not normal? Like, I don't know. Hopefully it is. But so we try to start right there. It's just kind of like setting the tone like, hey, we're super excited. We can't wait to get back to you. In the meantime, check out our pricing guide. Here's some helpful planning, like posts. Maybe they'll be interesting, kind of points them to our blog where we have different resources. And then really we want to hop on a call with you. We want to, we call them connect calls. They're video. And we just want to get to know you. We want to hear your story. And we want to see if we're a good fit. Like we may or may not be. I think a lot of times by the time a couple does set up a connect call, they have a good idea of whether it's probably going to be a pretty good fit. Yeah. Which is just exciting, getting to like hear from couples and hear their story and really get to know them. I think it's really special. And then we get to start planning their engagement session. And a lot of couples will ask me like, hey, like, when should we do our engagement session? And what I tell them is it's totally up to you. Like, what do you want to use the images for? Are you getting married in the fall? Maybe you want spring photos. If you're using them for save the dates, let's try and get them done like 9 months a year before your wedding day. But really there's no rules. It's kind of whatever fits best for you guys. And so we go through that process and we try and have just exceptional turnaround time. I think that there's tons and tons of wedding photographers out there, and they're all incredibly talented. But I think one of the ways we try to set ourselves apart is through our turnaround times, because couples are excited about these photos, and we want to get them to them as fast as possible while giving them the best final images, of course. So we work really hard to just be efficient. We have a lot of good systems in place so that we can do that. And then really it's kind of helping couples plan a little bit. Hopefully they have a coordinator or someone else who's helping them. But if they don't, we have a questionnaire that we go through with couples, and that just kind of helps us say, okay, this is what the photo timeline looks like, or what we would recommend that it looks like. And this means hopefully hair and makeup will be done by this time. You might need transportation around this time. And so really just trying to go above and beyond and helping couples answer questions that they may not even know that they have yet. And so I guess actually going back, we actually do that initial draft of a timeline for couples right after that Connect call. So whether you book or not, we're going to send you that timeline. And again, it's just a photo timeline. There's so many other things that go into it. But again, hopefully it's just a really helpful resource for couples, regardless of what they decide in terms of photography, that'll just help them feel good planning. Sometimes it's nice to see okay, my wedding day, one page, here's what this looks like. And it removes a lot of stress, because most of our couples, they've never planned a wedding before. And so just being able to see it visually, I think helps a lot of couples to just get a sense of what their day can look like. And it's definitely not set in stone. It's going to change. So many things will shift over time. But that's just another thing that we do for our couples. And then that's when we go through it again, is when we go send out that final questionnaire about 4 months before their wedding. And the other thing we have is we've got to start our family photo shot list. Thinking about family photos, families, there are a lot of dynamics that go with families. And so just having a list from your photographer, these are the recommended shots that we get. Here's how much time this will take you. Just check yes or no if you want to do them. Here's a little space, add other shots that maybe you guys want to do. And so hopefully, again, that just makes it a little bit easier for couples as they plan their day. They don't have to start from scratch. They're starting, okay, here's the list. Awesome. I don't have to worry about it. It's taken care of. And so, yeah, we just try to do a lot of things like that so that their experience is just positive, so that we've built up trust. Even going back to the engagement session, the very first thing we do is we teach couples our 4 core poses, which sounds kind of weird, maybe stiff. But so many of our couples say, I feel awkward in front of the camera. I don't know how to pose. I don't know what to do with my hands. Does my hair look okay? All of these questions. We all feel a little unsure sometimes, especially in front of the camera. And so by just teaching them a few tips and tricks at their engagement session, when we get to the wedding day, they've already gotten a full gallery back of images they absolutely love. They felt really good taking them. We had a lot of fun. We chit-chatted. We laughed together. So when we get there on a wedding day, we're not strangers. We've hung out, and you trust me because we've already done this, and you can really relax. And that's our goal anytime we work with a couple. And it's something that so when we work with couples, our goal is personal, fun, and easy. We want to personally know our couples so we can authentically capture them. We want wedding photography to be fun. We don't want to be that weird photographer. We don't want that. And easy. We want it to be the easiest part of your wedding planning experience. And those words really came out of our reviews. We have 140 plus reviews, and those are just themes that we saw coming up over and over and over again. Personal, fun, and easy. Personal, fun, and easy. And my favorite reviews are the ones where they just go for paragraphs, and then at the very it's all about the experience, Cassie was so this, and Courtney this, and Eric and Rachel, whatever. And then at the very end, it's and the photos were awesome. Those are my favorite reviews, because then I know we really did our job well. Yeah. We created an experience for couples that was personal. It was fun, and it was easy. They could just relax. They could be fully present on their wedding day. And that's our goal with those 3 things. We want our couples to be fully present. And so that's why we kind of tailor things the way that we do. And so, yeah, that's a little bit about the experience. We do other things for our couples. We do a same day sneak peek, which I think we talked about a little bit. But that's something really fun. We like to surprise them with on their wedding day. Again, that sneak peek within 7 days of their wedding. So that'll be anywhere between like 160 to 200 final images. They have access to those images right away. So if you want to do save the dates, or not save the dates, you're already married. If you want to do thank you cards, if you want to print canvas, if you want to do, like an album for your parents, just to say thank you for supporting you on your wedding day, you can do all those things. You don't have to wait. So yeah, those are just some of the things that we do to create an experience for couples that is hopefully like really and truly like unforgettable.
Yeah. So you're talking about the review and like how long the review is. And then at the very end, it's like photos were great, kind of thing. I almost say you kind of have a hot take on this of like, and I think I kind of agree in a way, like what would you say is more important, the images themselves or the experience that the couple has?
I think the experience is more important. And that's not to say like your images still have to be incredible. They have to be representative of what you showed them in booking. But man, if you have an awkward experience with a photographer, like that's like you remember that when you look at your photos. And I don't want you thinking about that. I want you thinking about like the incredible day that you had, the fun that you had, the laughter with your bridal party, starting this new chapter with your, husband or wife. And so I really think that experience, it really goes a long way. Yeah, I do. I think the experience is probably more important than the actual photos themselves.
Yeah. To unpack a little bit more, I was kind of making mental notes as you were going along. One thing, I just want to share this because I thought it was funny. So you were talking about building the timeline for them. I think that's great because it's kind of almost like putting your own skin in the game before they've even booked of like, let me give you value regardless of what you decide or not. And this is really funny. There was a couple you referred to me. They actually weren't going to move. When I talked to them, they said they weren't going to move forward with you, but they were referencing the timeline you had built for them. So it's kind of cool, like how you left an impact on them, even though they're not even going to book you, but you still left this impact on them. They're not booking us either, so don't take it personally. But yeah, so like just like giving that a little bit of extra value, even if they don't move forward with you, you still left an impact on them, and who knows like where that could still result. They might have someone else getting married, and they're like, well, she was out of our budget, or it wasn't the right fit or whatever, but for your wedding, I think she'll be great. And look at this timeline she built for us, So, and it'll be kind of funny too if they give that to the photographer they booked with, like, oh, I already have a timeline built from a photographer we didn't move forward with. So,
oh my gosh, that's so funny. I love that though, and truly like that. We tell couples that on our calls. I keep saying we. I have an associate photographer, Cassie, that will do shoot weddings for RWF also. But that's what we tell them, like, no matter what you decide, we hope this is helpful to you as you continue to plan. And I mean it. So I love hearing that. That's kind of fun.
Yeah. That low pressure, I think, is important too, because you have to think, and you had brought up on this too, I think we lose track sometimes of like, we see weddings every day, so it becomes like normal. But like for this couple, it's probably their first time doing this. Yeah. And so it's very overwhelming. They don't know what they're doing really. They're trying to research and pull information from TikTok or wherever to figure it all out. And so you're just trying to guide them along because there's going to be a lot of conversations they might have that are more transactional. I think back to like, even like when I started, I shot for some studios and I kind of saw firsthand how they do their sales. It's very like twist your arm till you leave, like, hey, here's a contract, like they were kind of forcing you, like, we're the answer, move forward with us. Whereas I have the same approach as you. I even say that, like, that's one of the first things I say on the call. I'll be like, hey, the purpose of this call is for me to ask questions. I want to better understand what you guys are looking for, learn more about you, your wedding, kind of what makes you tick. If I don't think we align with that, that's totally fine. This is no pressure. Like, I'll refer you to someone I think who will fit those shoes. If I do think we'll fit the shoes, then we'll talk about pricing and packaging and all that stuff. But I don't want you to think like, oh, I'm the only option after this call. It's like, hey, the whole point of this is to make sure we are the right fit for you. And if we're not, that's totally fine. We can in this call, or it'll be good, but at least hopefully you got something out of this call. And I would say normally when I end a call, like 90% of the time, they're like, this was super helpful. You asked me a bunch of questions like no one's ever asked me before that I never even thought of, so so that's great.
And it's kind of fun. I mean, you're building trust with them. You're telling them right off the bat, like, hey, I have your best interests in mind. So if I'm a good fit for you, like, I'll let you know, like, I think this would be fun. And if not, I know people, like, I'd love to still be a resource to you and send you some leads. So I love that. I think that's a really smart way of doing it.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So we're in 2026 now. So a long ways from when you first started. Yeah. So I know you said in that first year, you're already doing 30 weddings. So like, what does a typical year look like for you guys now?
Yeah. So we have averaged about 30 weddings per year since starting. I brought on an associate photographer in 2022, Cassie. She's amazing. And so my goal for her is to have another 20 weddings. So anywhere between 50 and 55 weddings a year. And that really that's our capacity. Like that is our capacity to serve each couple well, whether it's the beginning of season or end of season. Yeah. So, and we've got a team. Like it's not just Cassie and I, it's not just our seconds. Like we have, our editor, Lisa Roy, who's been with us since 2017. I've helped in the office. There's just a lot of hands that go into making this experience for couples incredible. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of what it looks like, about 50, 55 weddings a year. Yeah. And I love it. It's just a ton of fun getting to come alongside couples. Yeah.
What I want to say too is to kind of compliment your associates too, because like we did a wedding earlier this year where Emily and I got to do it, and we were with Cassie and Courtney, and like the experience felt the same as if you were there, you know, and I think that's a testament to how passionate the people you hire are as well about what you're trying to build. But I would love to kind of pick your brain on that. Like how do you get to that point? Because I also hear a lot of horror stories where, you know, like they're like, I tried so hard to bring people in and they just never quite matched the vibe or the approach I have. And so I end up having to just let them go. You know, I hear that often. So I'm curious, like what you feel like you've done that has allowed for that to happen, where if a couple gets Cassie, it's going to feel just like they had Rachel.
Well, first of all, this is my second attempt at an associate program. Great photographers, grateful for them, and I learned a lot through that experience. A lot of what worked, a lot of what didn't, and really what I learned is what to look for if I was ever to do it again. And so when I met Cassie in 2021, and I know this sounds kind of crazy, I really think it was the Lord just like going before me. I was second shooting for a friend that I have second shot maybe 10 times ever. A friend reached out to me. She asked, hey, can you second? I said, yeah, absolutely. That'd be a ton of fun. And by chance, she'd also put online, like, hey, if anybody wants to third, to follow, just to learn, I'm shooting a wedding tomorrow. And so Cassie saw that and she came out, she third. I really just got to connect with her because I was second and kind of break down like, hey, here's what I'm doing. Here's why. Through that, I could just tell she wanted to learn. She was investing in herself. She wanted to invest in education. And I was like, this could be interesting. So invited her to come second. Come third to learn a little bit more first. And then when she'd kind of gotten to that level to second shoot, and then kept making sure like, okay, like this is still a good fit. And then eventually kind of broached a topic with her. I said, hey, like, we've learned from the same photographer. I really like your style. And mostly I love how you care for our couples. Like that is what's most important, is the way that you care and show up for our couples.
You know, you're talking about the lead generation side and you kind of listed those three, and it sounds like the online search is probably not the strongest. Out of those other two, which one would you say is probably the strongest of the two? Is it the vendors and venue relationship, or is it like the relationship with the past couples?
I do track that. I track everything. But I would say it's pretty 50-50. Yeah. It really is. Yeah. We have some incredible vendors and venues that we get to work with that I'm super grateful for. And our brides are incredible. Like they refer us tons of weddings that we get to book, and it's fun because we get to see them again. Yeah. Those are always really sweet memories. Just getting to catch up with brides at those other weddings. Now
the venue and vendors, what are you doing with those where they want to refer you? Because I can't say that's always the case. Like, you know, people, you got to imagine there's however many weddings go on in Chicagoland area, and it's like for them to pick like one or maybe like a handful of specific photographers they refer, I think it's a pretty big deal, you know, like if they really love what you do enough where they're referring you. So what do you feel like you're doing that's maybe different than other photographers who go to, say, that venue space or work with that vendor that's allowing them to want to refer you?
We do a lot of things. I don't know what other photographers do per se, so I don't.
Not a lot. That might be why. Oh. No, I'm kidding.
No, but we do a number of different things. Wedding days are a team effort. Like, I truly believe that we have a lot of different people coming in and they all have a job. And our job as a team is to support each other so that everyone can get their job done so that the couple can have the best experience and the best wedding day possible. Like, I really believe that. So anytime we're working with somebody, especially videographers, you know this, we get to work together a lot. Yeah. The very first thing I try to say to them is like, hey, like, weddings are a team effort. Like, if you need something, let me know. Like, jump in. Hey, like, I purposely work in movement. I know you need that for video. So I've got a flow that I'm going to go through. But, like, again, like, let me know what you need. Jump in. Like, same team. And I hope that sets the tone so that they know, like, hey, we're here for the couple. We both have stuff we need to get for them to serve them well. And I want to help you make sure that you get everything you need. And in terms of like venues, what we try to do is, actually all the vendors. So when the sneak peek goes live, we actually share those initial images with every vendor that we have contact info for. Yeah. So if you don't have images, let me know. But yeah, so everyone we have the information for, we're going in and we're sending that to different vendors because again, like, it's a team effort. And, you know, your hair and makeup artist isn't necessarily going to see the bride like in her dress at the venue and have those incredible images to share their work. And so we want to make sure to send it to them. You know, the cake, they're not necessarily going to have a photo of the couple like cutting the cake. And that cake, I don't even know how they do that. That's amazing. And so I want to share images with them. And so whoever it is, we want to make sure that we're trying to serve people well. And we actually did something a little bit new this year. We've never done this before. We've curated galleries for venues in the past, trying to put, like, especially the venues we've been at more than once, like putting the best of the best images in one gallery for them so that they don't have to go through and go, okay, it's winter, we need to like create some content and where do I find photos? Yeah. So by putting all the best of the best images in kind of a master gallery, basically, hopefully it's easy for them to go back and find those images. And it's multiple weddings and hopefully they just have what they're looking for. But new this year, what we did is we're like, okay, how do we make it better? And one of the things that we did is we created a spreadsheet, which sounds kind of boring, but now we have a photo of the couple, we have their wedding date, we have the bride and groom's Instagram handle, and we have all the vendors' Instagram handles, as well as a link to their blog post, which shares a little bit about their day. So if you want to write a more personal post, like, you know, maybe you weren't there, well, we were, and here's a little bit about their day if you want to like share about it. So our hope is just, we're always trying to think with the other vendors on the team, what can we do to come alongside you to just make your job a little bit easier so that you have great images to share, so that it doesn't take a ton of time and effort to like tag other vendors, and we just try and make it easy and repeatable. So it's something new that we've done this year to try and help out, and we've gotten some feedback so far. I think people like it. We spent a lot of time on it, so I hope they like it. But yeah, just always trying to think, how can we serve others well?
Yeah. I can kind of give you the perspective from that side since I see it because I'm a vendor working with you. So I see the whole process. But that was kind of one of the first things I had picked up on you guys when we first started working together was immediately like we usually have to take the initiative. Like we're usually reaching out to the DJ. We're usually reaching out to the photographer and we're kind of taking the initiative. You were kind of taking the initiative. Like immediately we got an email from you. It's like, hey, here's the couple. Here's their engagement photos if you want to share. And it wasn't like gatekeeping either, because you see that sometimes too, where it's like, you can have the photos, but they're going to have a bunch of watermarks on them, or it's like the low res versions or something like that. And you're just immediately like, here's my work. Feel free to use it as you want. You can tag me. That would be wonderful. You know, being very like collaborative essentially.
Yeah.
And then when the day rolls around, I picked up on it right away that not only are you photographing the couple and their family and their friends and the decor, obviously that's the focus, but when there's time, you'll take time out of your way to get photos of the other vendors too. So like the DJ, us, you know, like anyone who's there, you're also documenting them. And that's a lot of value, especially because, you know, a lot of times we're so busy in our craft, like whether we're the DJ or whoever, that we don't really get a chance to stop and like be like, hey, look at this cool wedding I was at. And you're doing that basically for them, you know, like you're essentially a content creator before content creators were a thing, you know, so.
Trying.
Yeah. And I think that goes a really long ways and people see that. And I think that's what can really set you apart with vendors, because there's still a handful of photographers, maybe even more than I'm imagining, but that like gatekeep their stuff. And videographers in particular are very notorious for this too. I worked with so many vendors or venues that we're on their preferred list now, and it's all because I shared one video with them, and they were shocked that I shared the video because no videographer has ever shared anything with them. Or if they reached out to the videographer wanted to add like a paywall to it. You know, like, oh yeah, I could do that, but I'm going to charge you $600 or $800. This is a true story too. I had a DJ ask, well, first he asked me if I could take a photo. I'm like, oh, I'm the videographer. The photographer's over here. So I introduced him to the photographer who we had never worked with before. I'm like, here's the photographer. I'm sure they'll do a great job. They do a better job than I would. The photographer said, I'll take this photo for you, but if you want me to share it with you, I'm going to have to charge you like $200 or something like that.
What?
And I'm like, are you for real? Like, I was like so shocked that happened. And then, you know, I waited like a few hours later when the dancing started. I kind of went back over to the guy. I'm like, hey, I'm sorry that happened to you. Like, how about I just take one for you right now, you know, and I'll send it to you. So I literally like, I took it off of my, you know, like I did the wireless transfer from the camera to my phone. I gave it to him like right then, you know.
Yeah, same team. You're just trying to serve another person on the wedding team. And I think that's really cool. Like I think that's why we work so well together, is because you're always looking for ways to serve. You're always trying to show up and help. And I love when we get to collaborate. I just think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So it's been great catching up with you, Rachel. I want to kind of wrap it up here. So I want to end with like one last piece of advice you'd have, and specifically on the teamwork aspect of it. So if, say, someone was like, you know, like they're starting 2026, they're like, I need to get more weddings, I need to get more leads, and they're considering things like ads and stuff. What would you say to them? Like, why would you recommend, instead of going the ads route, to just like essentially work on the relationships you have currently?
I would say do it. Like, work on the relationships and just see what happens. There really are, I mean, we kind of talked about it earlier, but those relationships, those leads, those are the best ones because they're coming with personal recommendation. And when you do have that personal recommendation, it just goes so much further. So take some time and just kind of brainstorm, like, what are different ways that I can go above and beyond to serve the people around me? And just see what happens. Like, you never know what's going to click and who's going to become somebody that you just have a ton of fun working with often. So just go crazy. See what you can do. It'll be worth it.
That's awesome. And then lastly, Rachel, I know we were talking about the teams thing. So like, if say someone is at that point where they're like, okay, I'm starting to get a little overwhelmed. I've been doing this by myself. I want to hire an editor, or, you know, maybe they're just relying on whoever is a second shooter. And they're like, I want to bring on like an actual associate. What piece of advice would you give them?
I would say start looking now, because it might take time to build your business to the point where you're ready to do that. But pay attention and just start investing in the people around you, and just see where it leads you, because you really never know. But it's definitely an adventure, and it's definitely worth it.
Okay, awesome. Well, if anyone wants to find you, where's the best place to find you?
I guess maybe on Instagram. I think I'm on there most often, but yeah, or the website. But yeah, excited. Any last things you want to say, Rachel? No, thank you for having me. This was so fun. I love when we get to chit chat, and it was really cool just getting to do it in this different format. So thank you. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate your time. Again, I thought you would be a great fit, because there's just a lot of things I think you guys do as a team that you just don't always get to see. And I was mentioning this before we got on here too, like, you're the photographer, so you probably don't really see what other photographers are doing out there. And so we do, because we're always working with them. And it's always great to work with a photographer like yourself that's always like very team focused and just all about making sure it's about the couple first before anyone else. So I just appreciate you sharing the knowledge that you have. So, well, thank you. And thank you for having me. It's been a lot of fun. Awesome. So, thanks, Travis. So thanks for joining us. And until next time, stay creative.